Hey yo, what is up FPG fam? Further here and welcome back to another Ether Gazer video. Now, I do have a fun one for you here. You can see we have the tier maker up. Now, we're not really doing a tier list, but we kind of are. I'll explain here in just a second. In my last video, I did ask for you guys to let me know what type of content you want to see from me moving forward. And a lot of you asked for a new beginner guide, which is understandable, right? Because we have a lot of new players joining the game due to the PC client. Now, that is a video I am planning on doing, maybe the one after this one. But I did also get asked specifically in the comment section to talk about modifiers that I would prioritize pulling for currently and in the future. Now that really piqued my interest, and that is something that I did want to go ahead and talk about today. So I want to give my opinions on that. I want to go ahead and try and help you out, just giving you my thoughts on it, and I want to get yours down in the comments below. Now, of course, this is going to be catered more to beginners, but this may be able to help returning players that haven't played the game in a long time and don't know what's going on currently. I do implore you, go in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts, let me know your opinions, and that could definitely help the community out as a whole. Now, we also need to get into the nuanced discussion of modifiers and why you would prioritize them, and that's going to be really catered toward team builds. And just to explain that a little further, if you're looking to pull a modifier because they are rated highly, it's usually in regards to the team that is surrounded around them that makes that said modifier tier higher, if that makes sense. We'll go more into that discussion here in just a second. Hopefully it'll make more sense here in a little bit. Now, there are some modifiers that I don't have any experience with or can't really speak about just because they are that brand new, and that is going to be really Brahma and Bavardi. I don't have too much information on them, so I'm probably going to be leaving them off of this tier list specifically, but we might come back in the future and make a new one if you guys like this one. So just let me know in the comments, or just hit the like on this video, either or, right? Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to talk about tier 0. Now, tier 0 are the modifiers that I value the most, and I think beginners should really target and would benefit their account the most. Now, the first one that I would have to put in tier 0, that would be Ling Wang, for the obvious reasons. Now, if you're a new player and you don't know what Ling Wang does, she basically does everything. She's a support modifier that fits on just about any team. She's very universal. She provides a shield, she provides tremendous buffing to your team. She's very comfortable to play, very fun to play, and she has an amazing design. Ling Wang really brings a whole package. I believe even on CN she is still top support, if not still the best support, which really speaks volumes to this modifier because she came out such a long time ago. Even on global, it's been a little bit now since she's been released, and she still holds her place as one of the best, if not the best support in the game universally. So she's not tied to a specific team. You could really place her anywhere that you want, and that's just due to her ether code. So Ling Wang, such a fantastic modifier, holds her value for a very long time, worth the investment and worth picking up if you don't have her. Now, moving on from there, the next one that I'm going to go and talk about, and she is coming here relatively soon within the next couple of days, and that is going to be Thoth. Thoth is just going to be the best DPS in the game. Once again, surrounded by the units or modifiers that she would need to have there in place to make her that top tier, but even without it, she's going to perform amazingly in terms of damage. She is also ranged, so that's going to give you some more comfortability, especially if you're a new player to the game and you're still trying to get used to Ether Gazer, and you might be dying a lot. She is ranged, so that's going to give you a little more leadway. She's fun to play. I've used her before, so she has that fun mechanic. She also has a freeze or a hold on the enemy, so that gives you a little more comfortability as well, just in case you have a little skill issue. And then she does tremendous damage on her own. So she really has it all going for her, just like Ling Wang. She has the character design. She's just an amazing unit as a whole. So I do truly recommend Thoth as a DPS. If you're lacking that department and you need a DPS unit, Thoth is an absolute pickup, right? A must-have on your account alongside Ling Wang. So those are my tier 0. Now I am going to put this may be a hot take. I'm going to be honest with you. This might be a hot take. This might be a little biased, but I really don't think so. In my opinion, I think it's warranted for this modifier to be in tier 0. But if you want to put it in tier 0.5, I'm not going to argue with you. But for me personally, Gung Chen I think is a tier 0 modifier, especially for new players. And it's kind of for similar reasons as Thoth and Ling Wang, just kind of mixed together. So let me explain. So Gung Chen has that range, once again, just like Thoth. So you have that comfortability of the range. but she also is a great supporting modifier. She has a lot of versatility, but she also has that grouping, so she's able to pull enemies from across the map, pull them together, and that allows you to be able to then focus on them so they're not hitting you from all different angles. They're all bunched up for you nicely, so then you can just focus on attacks. You can continue to move around, stay at range, and she's also great paired with Ling Wang for the Tianwan Gen Zone. So I just think Gung Chen is amazing. Overall, I put her in tier 0, once again, especially for new players. Gung Chen is going to be an absolute carry for your account. Like, once you have her on your account, you're going to see how much better you're doing in just about every single game mode with her there, and how much fun she is to use, and she's just great. Overall, in my opinion, she's great, and I would put her in tier 0. But once again, if you want to put her in 0.5, I'm not going to go and argue with you, but no lower than 0.5. Absolutely not. That's a travesty. That's blasphemy. She's either 0.5 or she's 0. You choose. No, I'm kidding. You can put it wherever you want. Anyways, moving on from there, we're going to talk about 0.5 in the tier. And the first one that I can think of is Izanami. Izanami, for the same reasons as Thoth, just she's not ranged, she's more melee in terms of being close range, but she has a lot of very fun mechanics and she hits tremendously hard. But once again, you have to have the right pieces in place for her to hit that tremendously hard status, right? But she is very fun to play, and she has some very unique mechanics with her counter, with her mirrors, and being able to use that to be able to proc certain things in terms of like her counter, and to be able to proc her dodges and things of that nature. So she's just a lot of fun to play, she's a lot of fun to use, and she's a very strong hitting modifier, DPS modifier. So I would put Izanami in that 0.5. Now, the very next one that I would put is Esver. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any experience with Esver, but I am very much looking forward to her here relatively soon on the global side. But from what I can see and the information that I've gotten, she is a tremendously good modifier to have, and one that you're going to want to have on your account. So you could prioritize her and invest into her, and it's going to pay dividends in the future for you. So I would recommend Esver as a 0.5 modifier for you to have on your account. Now what we're going to be talking about are modifiers that are going to benefit a specific team and the reason why you would want to have them, and they may be higher on your tier because of that reason. So in other words, let's say for example Izanami is the modifier that you're trying to build up and you want to have on your account as your strongest DPS, or whatever the case may be. Then another modifier that is going to be a high priority for you, so a 0.5 or even probably a 0 for you, is going to be Mitsuha. So you're going to want to have Mitsuha here. So these modifiers I could probably put in tier 1 in terms of they are going to be that next missing piece that you want to obtain in order to make the modifier that you have that you want to enjoy hitting big numbers with on the team with you. Does that make sense? Did I say that correctly? I feel like I messed that all up. So essentially, these are going to be the best pairing for the modifier that you are trying to focus on the most. I think that's a better way to say it. So in other words, Izanami, you want her to hit extremely hard. Mitsuha is going to be the best teammate to have with her, the best pairing, and the modifier that's going to allow her to hit hard because of the ice resistance shred that she does, the buffing for ice specifically, which is then in turn going to help Izanami be able to hit big numbers, right? So Mitsuha is going to be a tier 1 priority for you because you have Izanami. And another one that we can prioritize and look at, for example, Thoth, that we have in tier 0, but you want her to be that tier 0 modifier, hitting those big numbers and doing as well as you see her do. If you're watching other content creators, you're going to want to have Sekhmet there, right? Once again, for the same reasons you have Mitsuha, Sekhmet is going to be that perfect pairing for Thoth. So you're going to want to have Sekhmet as the priority pull for you once you have the other ones in place. So you need to have Thoth. Once you have Thoth in place, Sekhmet's going to be the one that you want to pair with her. Izanami, you have Izanami there in place. Now you're going to want to get Mitsuha for that buffing, right? So those are going to be the pairing that you want to go ahead and have together. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of priority pulling. I should have mentioned, I'm not going to be going through every single one of these modifiers. These are just the ones that I think you should be looking forward to or prioritizing. Obviously, not every single one of these are going to be a priority pull for you, so I'm not going to tier each and every one of them on here. But so far, these are the ones that I would highly recommend. Now, the next one that I did want to go ahead and talk about is Celine. Now, I don't have, once again, any experience with Celine, but from what I can see and what I've been shown, she definitely is warranted for that 0.5 tier, and Celine's going to be a top priority for you from what I can see for that Olympus Gen Zone, but also for that Shadow team that's going to also consist of where she's at. Hades, and where is she? She's actually still here currently as of the recording of this video, which is the S rank Oneroy. So this team right here is the Shadow team. Once you start building the pieces here, this team is incredibly strong, and Celine is that cornerstone or that priority piece for you that you want to have in place in order for that team to run and to be able to perform at the level that it is performing at. So you're definitely going to want to prioritize Celine. Hades is a modifier that you can pick up, I think, pretty easily with a S rank selector. So this is going to be for the Shadow team specifically. Celine would be the priority modifier that's going to be coming in the future. Hopefully you have Hades already built up and invested in, but if you're a new player, you might not, but Hades would be an easy pickup for you. The only one that would be pretty tough, and I would prioritize for that team because she's going to be pivotal in that team, is the S rank Oneroy. But the only problem is that she's leaving here relatively soon, and we have Thoth coming. And to be quite honest with you, I would, for a new player, I would prioritize Thoth over the Oneroy for a Shadow team. This would be if you just really enjoy the Shadow team specifically, right? And that's the team that you want to have on your account. Then of course go ahead. Or if you just don't like Thoth, whatever reason, then this is going to make sense and be more understandable. But if you're, not really trying to build that team, it's not really that important to you, then I would just prioritize Thoth and just skip the Oneroy. But once again, completely up to you. But these are the modifiers that I would put here, just because of that team specifically. Alright, now moving on from there, the next modifier that I would put in the 0.5, but if you want to put her in the tier 1, once again, I wouldn't argue with you, but that would be Hera. And I just cannot believe how long Hera has kept her value for. Now, she is falling off a bit, and that's understandable. I mean, she's been out for quite some time. It's remarkable that she is still even this high up, in my opinion, but it's just because of how universal she is. She can fit on any team, and I think that versatility of being able to be on any team is what has let Hera hold her value. Of course, her buffing capabilities, but I think it's that versatility of being on any team and her not being locked into a specific team is what allowed her to last this long, being this high up. So I would really prioritize Hera, especially once again as a new player. If you want to put her tier 1, you certainly can. That's perfectly fine. But I think just because of her versatility, I would put her in the 0.5 tier for new players, especially. She's just that good. She's just that good, and she fills a lot of holes. So, like, for example, in certain teams, if you don't have Ling Wang on your account, but you do have a Hera, you could just slot a Hera in. Same with like Gung Chen. If you don't have Gung Chen on certain teams, you could just slot Hera in. So if you're missing certain pieces, for example, like if you don't have Oneroy, the S rank, but you do have Celine and you have Hades, you could slot in Hera. Now, is it going to be, the meta, the most optimal? Of course not. But would it work? Yeah, it certainly will. That's the thing. Hera works in any team. It's not always going to be the most optimal. It's not always going to be the most meta, but it works and it'll get the job done, at least in most cases. So that's why I value Hera so much still to this day. Once again, if you want to put her tier 1, I'm not going to argue with you. That's perfectly fine. I would just personally probably put her in 0.5. That's just my own personal opinion. But yeah, that's what I would do. Now, the next one that I did want to go ahead and talk about is Artemis. Once again, don't have any experience with this modifier, but I have seen a bit in terms of her value and what she brings to the table. Now, she could be 0.5. I would probably put her tier 1. And she's going to be a great addition to the Sekhmet and Thoth team. She also slots in that physical team with Athena. So she has some versatility as well. I think she looks great. I think her animations look great also. And I think she can do some pretty good damage herself. So Artemis, I would go ahead and put in tier 1. You could put her in tier 0.5, but she does fit on a few teams, and she does her role really well. And that's a modifier that you could be looking forward to in the future, certainly. Now I'm going to go ahead and end the video off with this modifier here, just because this is a personal bias for mine. In terms of like for a new player or for a returning player, I don't think Esbizembo is a priority, like a major priority, just because she doesn't have a team, or I should say she doesn't have a lightning support just yet. Now you can correct me in the comments down below if there's one that's coming out or that you've seen. I haven't. But she would really need like a dedicated lightning support, like Thoth has Sekhmet and Izanami has Mitsuha. I think Bizembo needs like that dedicated lightning support for her to jump up to that tier 0 or tier 0.5. But she's just such a cool modifier, and she is very fun to play. I got to use her personally. I'm very upset that I missed out on her, and she's just a fan favorite, so I had to put her on the list just specifically for that reason. But these are the modifiers that I would prioritize as a new player. These are the modifiers that I would be targeting as a returning player if I missed out on them. And this is just my own personal list. Obviously, these modifiers can move around. You can place them wherever you want to. I may come back to this and update this a little bit, but you know, I would love to hear your guys' opinion down in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance in terms of this discussion, which would lead more into like team building, which we touched on when we talked about the shadow team, physical team. Team building is where modifiers really hold their value, right? Because certain modifiers just benefit a lot more just because they have the better supports, or they have the better team comp, or the team have been receiving better buffs for whatever reason. So those are things that are just a little deeper of a topic to talk, but I did want to try and keep it pretty, you know, simple, high overview. This is what you should probably be looking for currently and in the future. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you all next one. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name's Cody. You call me further. I'll see you all next one. Bye, guys.